Hello YouTube, we're back at flight school. We're going to learn how to fly airplanes, at least simulated airplanes here. Now I'm going through here and doing a couple of settings things. Apparently it does not save that I want it in full screen all the time, so I have to do that. And I'm also testing out a couple of changes to settings and to see if this affects a couple of little things. So I'm playing around with a couple of minor things to see if I can get this frame clipping tearing issue when I look around quickly to resolve itself. Again, testing things out. But we're going to go to flight training. Now, you have the option, you can either fly in the UK with the Piper Cub, or you can fly in the US with the Piper Cherokee. We're going to go ahead and select the US here. Now, what this is not is an intensive way of learning how to fly an aircraft for the real world. The purpose of flight school is to expose a new generation of gamers to what it means to fly in a simulated environment and how to flight sim, essentially. Because there was a number of negative reviews when the Steam edition of FSX was released and people picked it up for $5. Maybe they had been playing War Thunder and then they tried to play FSX not realizing that it was a full in-depth sim. Now, you know, in-depth is a relative term because the default aircraft in FSX were generally light on regards to systems modeling and stuff like that. I mean, you can buy third-party add-ins such as A-to-A simulations aircrafts or PMDG for airliners and things of that nature and get things to be very realistic in terms of procedural simulations. But still, people would basically take off and crash and not really have any idea of what they're doing. Now, there was a whole host, I believe around 30 tutorial missions and things like that within FSX that would teach people a lot of those things. But this is aimed at a product in order to basically simply instruct the masses into expectations when it comes to flying a flight sim as opposed to a more flight-oriented game, for instance. So if you're looking for this as a stand-in or something that could start to prepare you for real-world flight training, I think you're going to be thoroughly unimpressed. It is probably, and we'll see, nothing like real flight lessons and things of that nature. If you're thinking about wanting to get involved and into flight simulators, but don't know the first thing about aviation and traffic patterns and things of that nature, this may serve as a very good introduction. We'll see. We'll see how well I do or don't do. Excuse me as I take a swig of soda here. Alright, so we're going to go ahead. We're in Arizona here. We're going to be flying the Piper Cherokee. I have about 16 hours in Cherokees and its various subclasses thereof, like the Archer and the Arrow, actually the Archer too. I've spent about 10 hours in one this spring at the flying club that I joined in order to do a check ride and get certified for their insurance to rent the aircraft solo. So, we'll see how the experience is here compared to the real world. Granted, I'm flying with the CH Flight Sim yoke, and things like toe brakes for braking is not working right now. Ooh, a cinematic intro.
Welcome to Ernest A. Love Field in Prescott, Arizona, home to the Eagle Pilot School. Our location here offers fantastic flying weather, several runways, and a control tower, all surrounded by the wild beauty of the American Southwest. This is one of our Piper PA-28 Cherokees. It's an incredibly popular general aviation aircraft that's often used for training.
So
The instrument panel is a bit dated compared to some modern class cockpits, but personally, I like the steam gauges.
Actually, I like steam gauges too.
Ready? Let's get going. Let's start with a simple trip around the airport traffic pattern. I'll explain more while we taxi to the runway. Prescott ground, Cherokee 109er Sierra Hotel at Eagle, ready to taxi, remaining in pattern.
Still not.
Cherokee 109er Sierra Hotel, Prescott ground, altimeter 299er.
I'm not noticing a lot of difference
right
between
at
high
intersection departure. Taxi via Foxtrot.
anti-aliasing. You can see it there.
3 right at Foxtrot via Foxtrot. Cherokee 9er Sierra Hotel. Okay, it's your airplane. Taxi us along taxiway Foxtrot,
right there.
the intersection
Just
with
drives me
runway
nuts.
3 right. Taxiway Foxtrot is straight ahead of us. Follow the yellow lines, then turn right.
I will say that initially it seems to be easier to taxi aircraft in this than it does FSX. I've usually had trouble taxiing in FSX. It just seems to always be very hypersensitive.
The traffic pattern is a rectangular pattern around a runway that allows aircraft to take off and land in an orderly manner. The pattern is especially important at airports without control towers.
True.
Flying the pattern also makes it easy to configure the airplane in the same way every time and make a stable approach to land.
So far they haven't taken us through any of the aircraft controls, such as flaps, things of that nature, or lights. The fact that when the engine is supposed to be started,
Go straight
it's
across
supposed to be
here.
beaconing and all that good stuff. We're gonna have to get in. Now, not having toe brakes configured is a little bit kind of goofy
Stop
for me
here.
right now.
Prescott Tower, Cherokee 109er Sierra Hotel is ready to go. Holding short runway 3 right
on.
at Foxtrot, remaining in the pattern.
Cherokee 109er Sierra Hotel, Prescott Tower. Right close traffic approved. Runway 3 right at Foxtrot,
Flaps
intersection
down.
departure, cleared for takeoff.
Takeoff.
Right
Lights
close
on.
traffic approved, cleared for takeoff 3 right, 9er Sierra Hotel. Taxi to the right out onto the runway. Okay, line up and give it full power.
So VR should be 55
Cherokee
knots.
rotates at 55 knots.
But they didn't say anything. I'm assuming that the takeoff. Okay, I'm going to assume that we got trim set for takeoff.
We're over 55 knots. Gently pull back on the yoke to lift off. Great. Now pitch to climb at 75 knots, which is the best climb speed in the Cherokee. There's a slight crosswind from the left today. You'll need to turn left a few degrees to correct for wind drift and maintain the runway center line. Climb straight out to 5,700 feet. That's 300 feet below the pattern altitude of 6,000 feet. Good job. Right on speed. Give it full power for takeoff and climb. Very nice takeoff. I'm impressed. Okay, here comes 5,700 feet. Now make a turn 90 degrees right to a heading of 120 degrees.
120 degrees.
Rolled out a little late. Keep the pattern square by flying parallel to the runway, or 210 degrees. Okay, here's 6,000 feet. Level off and hold 90 knots. Once you reach pattern altitude, pause for just a moment, then turn downwind. Go ahead and turn right 90 degrees now. Fly heading 210. maintain 90 knots at 6,000 feet. Your goal is to fly a ground track parallel to the runway. You're a little high. Maintain 6,000 feet. Great job so far. Glance down at the runway. It should be halfway up the wing. Okay, downwind is a good time to do the pre-landing checks. Belts are tight. Mixture is rich. Fuel pump is on. Landing gear is down and welded. Okay, you're abeam the touchdown zone, so start descending. Pull the throttle back and lower the nose to initiate a descent. At 1 notch of flaps and the aircraft will slow to around 75 knots. Aim for a 500 foot per minute descent rate. Now start looking over your shoulder at the runway. We'll turn base when we're 45 degrees off our touchdown point. Okay, here we are. Now make a right turn 90 degrees onto the base leg. Flight 300 degrees. Add 1 more notch of flaps and slow to 70. Now watch the runway. Try to time your turn to roll out onto the runway center line. Keep this turn shallow since we're flying slow. Done properly, you should roll out right on the center line at just the right altitude to continue a stable approach. You're a little low. Add a bit of power and raise the nose a touch. Still low. Can you get back on the ideal glide path? When you think you've got the runway made, add the last notch of flaps. Slow to 65 knots on short final. Here we are. Pull the throttle control back to idle and keep the nose up until the mains touch down.
Cherokee 9 Sierra Hotel, exit next taxiway.
Exit the runway to the right when you're able.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead and stop here.
Yeah, pull short.
Very nice. You can do that on your own.
Probably. automatically retracting your landing gear or the flaps. Woohoo! We passed the first lesson. Achievement unlocked. Traffic pattern. So, that's how you fly the first lesson. Thank you very much for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe as I will go through all of the lessons and we can see how well I succeed or fail at doing the next one. Until next time, fly safe.